Alright, hello everyone. Welcome to today's match versus Insane Banana Posse and Scorch. I think I will probably need to change the sides for the team's game, but I'll give it a sec to figure that out. As the lobbies are getting set up. What the heck? Alright, so yeah, Scorch will be red. I guess I'll set the abbreviation up to SCO though. It's funny seeing SCO being used as their abbreviations because one of my favorite games of all time has SCO as one of its original abbreviations, but I never actually played the game during that time, so. Space Cowboys it was called. Yeah. As as we wait for the draft to begin, I will be right back. Gonna get me some water in a bit. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. Looks like the drafting's begun. Banana Posse banning out Mbessa, Yorick, Jinx, Aurelion Sol, Cassante. Scorch losing a ban. I'm assuming they probably had someone that didn't meet the rank qualifications this match. Also banning out Lux, Gwen, Wukong, and Olaf. Banana Posse locking Kale, Mel, Nautilus, Scorch getting Zhao, Seraphine, and Nivea. First pick of the second wave going to Nasus. B4 Teemo lock. Interesting. Reminder that Mel did get the host of adjustments, remove the invulnerability provided to her from her reflection. But still very strong in Seraphine, just not so much in like Zhao. Using those two as examples because they're locked in champions, because Nasus is generally good. Although I guess if he ghosts and gets on her, not getting out. Banana Posse locking Mordekaiser for their final pick, but with Renekton being open, it could be a bit iffy selection. Also kind of wondering who the bot lane composition would be. I feel that Teemo's slated to be going into the jungle. I would expect not to see a Kayle in the bot lane. I guess she could go mid lane, but top lane would probably be more appropriate. I forget how the Kayle versus Susan matchup would be. And otherwise, the bot lane would be Mel or Mordekaiser, and the other taking up the mid lane. And Sivir being the final lock-in for Scorch. Interesting composition from Banana Posse this game 1. As we go into the final, or the official drafting stage here. Oh, they're doing tournament draft instead of blind pick. I see. Going a bit slowly though. But yeah, let's see. Team composition evaluation. It's I'm going to hold off the early game evaluations so I actually see where each person is going. But in regards to compositions, Scorch seems to be heavily favoring the late game end of things. Sivir, very strong front to back, and Nivea helps with that. Susan just kind of does his own thing. Nivea and Sivir also very good at clearing waves. Seraphine also helps with that. And Xin Zhao, I'm not quite sure how he would fit into the mold. He can dive, but Mel existing makes it very dangerous for Seraphine and Sivir to lead into that. I feel like she would have to be a required pick to do too much. Otherwise, it's heavily risking the health of your allies. The Mordekaiser pick would be able to remove Anivia from any fights. I think that Susan could be dangerous as the game drags on, but Teemo is there to kind of put a stop to that. And I think Kayle should be fine with that as well. Mordekaiser I don't think has the greatest targets other than Anivia to ult. Seraphine would kind of be low value since you would probably expect her to use her stuff before getting ulted in, potentially. Xin Zhao is kind of like a lone frontliner in this, and ulting him I don't really think would benefit their team much. But it would at least provide one less obstacle for access from Nautilus. if you're going to be going from that angle. However, looking at Banana Posse's team composition, there's not really much of a line anywhere from it. It honestly kind of feels to me that this game may be chaos, but with Scorch having a composition that at least is able to focus on a type of structure to what they're doing. Despite the Xin being there, he's just generally strong right now, apparently. So, alright. Picks have been locked in. That will be a Kale top, Mordekaiser jungle. That... Or is this just messing with me right now? So, Kale top, Mordekaiser jungle, Nautilus mid, Melantimo bot. If, you know, all these portraits are where they should be. I completely forget. Bot. Get out, bot. God, I feel that I've seen the name for Senio before in the past. I feel like that was probably the name that people used on like Twitter scams years ago. Crazy stuff. I don't know, man. But he did say that he's not a bot, so maybe he's not a bot, you know? A bot wouldn't say they're not a bot. So maybe that ban was totally an accident. Alright, so yeah. Teemo support with Mel. Nautilus mid, more jungle, Kale top. Absolute chaos. And not sure how it's gonna work out for them. Still, even. I feel like Kale is there to be acting as the... I feel like Kale is there to act as the marksman of the team, but you know, it's gonna take until late game to be able to pop off, and late game is where Nivea and Sivir are going to be incredibly strong at. However, that does provide avenue for Mel to take advantage of, because, you know, going up against a Seraphine and Sivir. So, I don't know. It's probably going to end up as a coin flip, if you will. Get it? I'm sorry. Alright, as we move to in-game. As game 1 is underway. I did not forget the objective timers at the start this time. Progress.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Minions have spawned.
Teemo going for some cheeky plays, giving some PTSD to the enemy bot lane. Let's see if Susan's gonna be spotted by a minion to give away a big plan. Thing is though, Nasus is going to be hitting level 2 first, and he's pushed in right now. So it's only really going to be a net negative for Kayle in the long run at this point. As Teemo hasn't shown himself anywhere thus far. And yeah, if you know, if Nasus has ever played top lane ever before, you know, which is unlikely in a group setting of League of Legends that this is, he'd probably notice something fishy about Kayle only being level 2 at the moment, or at Kayle hitting level 2 when she did. And Teemo comes over with the blind, actually blocks the knock-up. Alright, Susan might have spotted something, but didn't say anything. As he gets poked under the tower by Teemo. And Mel will be known to be alone down in the bot side. Susan will be costed a fair amount of CS with this barrage of poke. Absolute punishment. Seeing as how the massive anti-lane swapping mechanic is gone. Teemo's not really being significantly punished for these movements. And the wave is pulled out, so... And getting the flash for the kill. And another Dark Harvest stack. That is evil. And they are aware. In the chat. Susan has no teleport available. Losing so many minions. Kayle with a level lead in spite of having Teemo with her for such a long span of time early on. Incredible gains for Insane Banana Posse at the beginning. Teemo now sneaking bot. But taking a lot of hurt. No spell shield utilized yet by Sivir. And Mel is very low. Xin Zhao hovering so he could possibly suspect a dive attempt. He is backing off. Maybe going around the back, expecting Teemo and Mel to be pushed off. Have easier access. Teemo's invisibility was spotted. You see Seraphine going into position. Alright. Xin Zhao will go down after securing 2 kills for his team. Nice tower dive. And Kayle running with Swift. Ooh, that is a lot of damage coming out from Nautilus. I feel his laning is going to be problematic once Anivia gets access to her ultimate, however. So is Teemo just going to be following the jungler? Yeah, you see the ward down there, right here. That's there to kind of indicate to Scorch's bot lane whether Teemo actually returned to lane or not. And Mel getting a 1v2, level 6 advantage. Kayle's the one that should be getting the XP, but not being permitted to do so. Xin Zhao and Sivir going for the dragon. However, Mordekaiser's level 6 coming over to take out the Xin Zhao. As Sivir runs away from the pit, Xin is at 300 health, knockup coming out, but it's not going to be enough as he takes a full blast of the Mordekaiser's mace. As that will be the first neutral objective secured for Insane Banana Posse. And Teemo just sitting up here, being evil. Right, Mel doing quite fine down bot side. Getting even bigger of a level lead. Sivir and Seraphine still not level 6 yet. And Nautilus getting moved on by Xin Zhao. Out comes the ice wall. There's the root. Uses his slow. Nearly out. Anivia is out of mana, however. Not enough to use Q, which is about 100 mana. I'm not sure if it goes up or down with level. But Susan is actually farming pretty decently for his situation. Sitting at 100 stacks. Sheen purchase and Zhao hovering topside. Kale does have ultimate available. Just showing the rune selections here for anyone interested. Hook missing. If it connected, the Anivia ultimate would have been cancelled. But the cooldown for it isn't very long. She would be able to trap Nautilus not long after. No wards on the top side. Out goes the Q. Will get blocked by Xin Zhao. Does eventually die to the Glacial Storm. Teemo was spotted on the ward down here. Alright, this next neutral objective will be going to Scorch. And Mordekaiser spotted out. State of the game calming down some. Xin Zhao looking mid yet again. Will be spotted on the control ward this time around. Ooh, but Mordekaiser smelling blood. Xin Zhao ultimate is available. Going to be going for the knockup as he tries to escape, but Sivir getting run down by Teemo for the kill. Mordekaiser flashing in, hoping to get some chicken with that. But Anivia flashes away. Taking her teleport, does have teleport. Taking her recall, does have teleport ready. A substantial buy coming up. Malignant secured. Nautilus not going to be able to get any plate gold. Ooh, that is so much hurt. Half his health in one rotation. Teemo doing Twitch things right now. Being a menace in the jungle. Menace on lane returns as Sivir is already looking to go back. With just a couple of autos and a blinding dart from Teemo. Mordekaiser only 2 stacks left for his smite to be ready. I'm really surprised at the massive difference there is between the 2 junglers for that. Haven't been paying attention to the clears, but oof. That may make a substantial difference for this dragon coming up in the next 30 seconds. Wait, what is that? Okay. Mordekaiser ultimate up almost the same time the dragon will be. Taking a late recall, however, if he wants to be there in time for it. Kayle getting incredibly low, all comes up. Teemo being there makes it very hard for Nasus to do anything because of the blind. Nasus will flash away, having the damage to kill the two, but not quite the visibility. As Scorch is opting for this Infernal Drake here, they will have 4 available to deal with it. Mel coming over with level 9, that is a 2-level advantage over the jungler and bot lane together. And a completed item at that. Dragon getting very low, smite range, and secured. Ooh, Mel putting out a lot of hurt, not going to be able to execute during the duration of that Xin ult, however. But the auto secures the duration extension, and Xin Zhao goes down as Mordekaiser runs down the Anivia inside the Brazil. Mel takes out 2, and it's looking like the bird goes down to Mord as well. That is an ace at 12 minutes, 18 seconds into the game. It is a funky composition, but Banana Posse is making it work in this early game here as we start the transition into mid. You know, in solo queue, this Kayle would have FF'd 5 minutes ago, if not earlier. But Flame Dog has shown that this treachery is working in her favor, at least for now. And Mel sitting at level 10, 1305. Actually, everyone on Banana Posse's side is level 10 right now, except for Teemo, and I guess Mordekaiser leveled up as I was saying that, which means first rank 2 ultimate in the game is ready. And to the jungler. Pretty crazy. Mel being the second. Who'd have thought? Out comes Nautilus with a flash hook into the Anivia. CC chaining going on. Anivia 300 health, 200. But Teemo goes down to the Xin Zhao from the forest. Take 2 for himself. Maybe? Hooked under the tower, taking 2 big shots, dropping a 300 himself. As Mordekaiser looking to fish a kill. Oh, and Mel is running for a tower dive, but overextends, will die to the Sivir. Mordekaiser does have his ultimate available, so Anivia doesn't want to stay close, just enough to put ample damage to force him off. Nautilus going down yet again here, potentially. Yep. Did die to the E. Sorry for the camera swap. Happened as she was casting it. Felt like something would happen up here. But woe was me, I didn't realize they had detached from each other before I pressed it. Alright, Mel with 1 level advantage at this point, but she is against Sivir. Going to be harder and harder to actually land abilities on her as time goes on. As Mordekaiser's ultimate comes out, taking the bird to Brazil yet again. Second time around, I think. Teleport coming out from Nasus. This may not end well for Mord. Flash comes out, auto doing a lot for him. No shield available just yet, however. Xin Zhao casts his ultimate. Nasus will be caught in the Nautilus hook as he goes down to Teemo. This will be 3 pushing mid lane. Xin Zhao incredibly low. Not quite safe for him to try and defend this, even with Seraphine nearby. As that is a mid lane tower for a mid lane tower. Xin Zhao going inside. Seraphine ultimate catching 2, but the Kayle ultimate being a deterrent to any go in from Xin Zhao, compounded with, you know, his 300 health bar. Nice pushes thus far from Banana Posse. But Anivia and Xin Zhao are piling on a lot of gold. The Mel's not been able to do too much to the Sivir at this point, but it looks like Kale is going down bottom now. 2 items available. None of them are Lichbane or wait, no, she does have Nashor's. What am I saying? I was looking at Mordekaiser items. Alright, yeah, Nautilus dealing with Anivia is an absolute nightmare. He is very fat and such an easy target to hit. When I play Brand, he is quite nice to see on the ME team. As Mel will be caught out, taken out, and Teemo to follow after, walled off by the ice. Mordekaiser coming to assist, Anivia dropping incredibly low. Mord's ultimate is ready, but he doesn't see the avenue to use it just yet. As Anivia recall comes out, teleport is ready for her. Nasus taking out 1 tower in the top side, moving on to the second, sitting on 300 stacks. Nautilus coming over to try and lock him down. Susan will escape with the... That wasn't Ghost. It seemed like Ghost, but it was not Ghost. Scorch will be taking their second dragon, first mountain dragon of the game. Alright, Scorch showed, Insane Banana Posse showed a strong early game, but the transition is being a bit smoother for Scorch as the early game cheese tactics are starting to wane. We'll see how Teemo's, Nasus and Kale fighting at the moment. The damage from the Nasus Q onto Kale, intense. Seraphine gonna be rotating over, will be dangerous. Might look suspicious with her walking inside. Mushroom spotted, there is the blind. Kale flashes away, but to no avail. Susan will catch up thanks to the Wither. Mel coming over. Does take out the Seraphine. His ultimate did go up before dying. Teemo dead. That is 2 on Nautilus's back. Out comes the Wither. As this looks like it will be a kill possibly for the Sivir, and it is. From this point on, looks like it's going to be a bit of struggle for Banana Posse to regain control of this match. As Anivia, Xin Zhao, Nasus are all getting pretty comfortable at this point. Sivir's pretty solid as well, almost has her 3rd item complete. Mel does have a bit of a gold lead, but a lot of that gold is unspent at the moment. Level lead hasn't gotten that much different either. Right, back to directed cam for a bit. Seraphine stepping on Mushroom, losing a quarter of her health, as is routine. Nautilus interrupting Anivia. But his ult will be on cooldown for a extensive period of time because of that. To be honest, it's kind of hard for
Banana Posse to attempt matching lanes at this point, because there isn't really anyone that can stay even with Nasus at the moment, other than Kayle, but frankly the only reason Nasus isn't going hard on her is because there's not enough vision keeping tabs of Banana Posse for the remainder of Kayle's allies in the premises. Then, you know, you have the Melon Nautilus, and what's Nautilus going to do against Sivir? And the stronger Anivia gets, the more difficult it is for him to step up to a wave. Because his body's so chunky, anytime he steps up to try and clear minions, he could just be walled off and annihilated with any of Anivia's abilities. As it looks like Scorch might be getting into position to use their Rift Herald. And Nasus just nuking this tower. Kayle can't do anything. Out comes the Wither. Ultimate. Mordekaiser's swinging by. There's Mel. All three strongins. 1Q. And there's the fourth with Teemo. As Mel secures the kill onto Nasus, but Nautilus will be going down here in the bottom lane. Rift Herald is ready to open up. Will we see it go down? Seraphine got caught out at the very least. And it looks like there is no decision to use the Rift Herald just yet, as Anivia flashes away. Mel ultimate not yet ready, however. Out comes the teleport. Incoming Nasus to contest this Mountain Drake. Gonna have to burn it down fast if you want to try it like that. Out comes in to try and steal, but it gets taken out at 8 health by Banana Posse. Looks like it was possibly an early smite. As Mordekaiser trying to take out the Xin Zhao, but is not able to within the duration and confines of his ultimate before he popped out and got killed by Nasus. Baron is up, Mordekaiser is dead. And Susan is continuing to take out these towers right now with the assistance of Rift Herald. Can't go wherever he'd like at this point, frankly. There he is, hopping inside as he charges out for free. I think his teleport is available at the moment. Left the Rift Herald, sees the jungle is clear, and decides to stick around. I assume he's building Spirit Visage next up. 950 gold available, not quite yet enough to finish it off, so... And Xin Zhao is sitting on a massive pile. Alright, Mel and Sivir. Mel has a bit of a gold lead still. Nasus far ahead of Kayle. Kayle also 2 levels away from level 16, which is the most important thing for her at this point. Xin Zhao about 1200 ahead of Mordekaiser. And Anivia with such a massive gold lead, 3000 in front of Nautilus, which is to be expected. Ooh, Teemo spotting Xin Zhao inside of this tri-bush here. Will the knockup go through? Yes, it will, as Xin Zhao is incredibly low. Out comes the Mordekaiser ultimate as he walks into 4 enemies unknowingly. There's the Anivia knockup from Xin Zhao. Xin going very low. Out comes the Seraphine ultimate. Nautilus for Xin Zhao. I think that trade was actually in the favor of Banana Posse. But you see the Nasus on the bottom side of the map continuing to be a macro issue that Banana Posse is going to have to deal with at some time. As unfortunately, Kayle just isn't enough right now. And Anivia is pushing the top side. The amount of people that are needed to come down to contest the Nasus is just incredible. Nasus up to 558 stacks for the viewers. Alrighty now, Sivir. 3 finished items plus some grievous wounds. Mel getting her 4th item as well.
Did you miss me?
Let's see how close Kayle is to her level 16. Halfway. I assume that's like, what, 5 minion waves or so? Roughly, maybe, kind of, sort of. Next dragon up in a minute. Kayle might not be one of them. May not want to be on the bottom side of the map when that pops over. But Nasus is heading towards mid lane for right now. At the very least for Banana Posse, their top lane is applying pressure, so there is a degree of safety. They can maintain a neutral state in the mid lane. Kayle has been farming somewhat comfortably on the bottom. 1 wave away from level 16, but there are no jungle monsters or anything for her to take at this point for that absolutely necessary XP. As Vision is presently being placed, jungle is taking control of, making it incredibly difficult for Banana Posse to attempt to contest that, but it doesn't look like they want to. As Anivia is the first to spot this Baron attempt in progress. Mordekaiser not wanting to use his ultimate, securing the Baron. Perfectly content trading that Mountain Dragon for it, deciding to fight now. No ultimate used just yet still from Mordekaiser as Anivia goes down. Seraphine ultimate deflected by Mel. Sivir and Seraphine both dead. Targets all out of reach from Nautilus to access. Mel throwing out abilities. Anivia's sieging power coming into play. Will take some shots from Teemo in the back. Ooh, Hook narrowly avoids. Or narrowly misses the Anivia. Still has her empowered recall from the Herald. Interesting. Yeah, that is 1 base tower down in this nice play from Banana Posse. Scorch may have Dragon Soul Point, but the Baron buff makes the laning pressure much better for Banana Posse. As the top lane is still in blue side favor. Almost 3,000 gold for Mel to toy around with here. Might be able to sell the Doran's Ring. Double Needle Rod. So I guess we could assume that Death Cap is coming up next. That magic damage coming out will be insane. Nautilus getting a bit tankier and tankier as the game goes on. Kayle does have her level 16 now. I think she had it during that previous fight, but I honestly can't remember. Alright, we've got 3 minutes until the Soul Point Dragon is spawned. But honestly, at this rate, it's really hard to tell where this game is going to be going. It's kind of right back to even. Banana Posse hoping for more macro and trickery plays. than attempting straight-on confrontations against Scorch. As Nasus is taking a lot of magic damage hurt here. Could possibly expect an ult. No. Gets away before he can be sucked into Brazil, but Xin Zhao coming from behind. Seraphine wary about using her ultimate. Lands it on 2. Mel is in the back, unable to access anyone as Mordekaiser's in his ultimate with Xin Zhao, takes him out, but immediately gets bonked by Susan. Alright, it looks like Kale is going to possibly have to decide whether they're going to confront or not. No, looks like her W is going to give enough move speed to get away safely, as Mel should be able to hold a siege here for a bit, maybe. Oh, that is a lot of tower damage from Sivir, as expected. Essence Reaver at that. Anivia taking the cheeky recall, getting away with it. Alright, next dragon up in 1 minute 15 seconds. Mordekaiser sitting on 1100 gold. Next item doesn't seem to be ready just yet. It doesn't. Is that Cosmic Drive that he's working towards right now? Might be. Kinda surprised it's not going to be a Rylai's. Would make it easier to confront Susan inside of his Death Realm. Kale Death Cap is up. Bell Death Cap is up. And not sure what Mel's final item is going to be looking like here. Anivia looking for someone to move out of position. Scouting provision, but will be scouted herself by the scout. Of course. Nautilus does have teleport, so he is pushing top lane to try and divert some pressure away. Let's see, just how much tower killing presence does he have? Not very much, but he's got minions to back him up. And Longri sits there unimpeded. Ooh. Alright, oh, not a good target for his teleport. Puts him in a really bad spot. Out comes Nautilus ultimate. Seraphine ultimate lands on 1. None of the hits are on Mel. Teemo will be caught out and killed. Last cone over. Mordekaiser finally using his ultimate on Nasus. Mel taking out Sivir. Susan killing Mord. Xin Zhao still alive. So far looking like this soul point will be successfully claimed by Scorch as another Nautilus hug comes out onto the Seraphine as Xin Zhao turns onto Mel. Takes her out. Kale goes down not long after the Zhonya's finishes. That is an ace for Scorch at 34 minutes into the game. Oh, I didn't even realize this match has been going on for that long. Baron is up. Xin Zhao is beelining for it. Teemo is alive as well. But I think it may be unlikely for him to stop this Baron attempt here. Let's see. Mushrooms are seen. Xin Zhao being pulled onto the mushrooms by Baron. They continue to be blasted. Alright, Teemo walled off. More mushroom explosions. No steal. But Mel getting caught out by the Xin Zhao. Shield up, not going to be enough. Mordekaiser ulting onto Anivia, it looks like. But he is having trouble trying to get to her as he pops out to his death. Maybe reality's so true. And now with Baron in hand, there's no minions for you, Nessus. There are some on the bot side, but... Alright, Nautilus going down. That is 4 bashing up the top side tower. And Kale getting tower dove by Nasus right here. Sitting under half health. Nasus 843 stacks as it's looking like this game is to end. 36 minutes. Nice job, both teams, but Scorch secured the victory. Game 2. Alright, that early game was something. But unfortunately, it wasn't something enough to create the victory that Banana Posse was seeking out. I would assume sides are being decided at this point. Yep, decisions still being made for the draft positions. Alright, and it looks like sides will stay the same for game 2. Alright, first ban's coming out, and Bessa, Yorick, Lucian into no ban yet again. Lux and Gwen. Swain B1. Swain very much able to flex along at least 3 positions. Jinx the R1 pick. Significant range advantage makes it a bit difficult for Swain to go bot lane into, but she is immobile, so it could be taken advantage of in the late for a big problem. The Soraka, though, that makes it difficult. The shotguns may hurt, but the heals don't end. Both Soraka and Swain like being close to their enemy. Alright, Rek'Sai and Olaf for B2, B3. Well, Scorch is hovering Jarvan for now. Jarvan into Olaf does make his escape incredibly difficult. Rek'Sai not quite as much, but that is quite a beefy front for Banana Posse thus far. And there is the lock. Lock. As we go into phase 2 bans. Urgot for the first. Cassante, ban number 2. Darius final ban from red. And Aatrox hover for blue. They don't want to duke it? Hui being hovered. Or Hui being hovered. And locked R4. Wukong 4. So many bruisers. They're looking for an absolute scuffle into a very squishy team thus far. But Soraka might make it deceptive. We'll see. Back in my day, Soraka would build tank because her heals scaled with health. Her Q shredded magic resistance and hit everything around her. And Warmogs is active in combat. Shen the final pick for Banana Posse.
What is this composition, man? Is it Shen Jungle? You know, with the new OP setup from Xpetu. What is that final lock? Zaheen for R5. Alright, well, Banana Posse doesn't have a marksman. But, let's see, they have knockout from Wukong, they have single target knockout from Rek'Sai, they have double taunt from, or multi-taunt from Shen, and a pull from Swain. I think that their hard CC is lacking for what they're trying to do, but they do have an incredible amount of burst damage, a lot of like scaling damage, means of shredding resistances. So I don't know. I think that this is probably going to be another really fun match to watch. Zaheen could be a terror, but with what Banana Posse has available to throw out, it could possibly be a non-factor. Jarvan could be a very big issue for Olaf, but we'll see. He could also just eventually end up being a blood bag for him. Also, look at this. Look at this. His pauldron. It's coming out to be the little thing on Hui's. I think that's the end of his brush. I don't know how to evaluate these teams matching up against each other, frankly. I think that it would at least be a Swain and Shen bot. Likely Rek'Sai jungle. Or actually, Olaf mid, Rek'Sai top, Wukong jungle, probably. It's so hard to say, man. So darn hard to say. Oh, alright, I'm already wrong. It is a Shen top. Or it's looking like a Shen top, and Wukong jungle. Olaf mid. So wait. Rek'Sai and Swain bot. I don't understand. I'm really gonna need someone to like give me a nonsensical copy pasta to explain what Banana's doing in these matches. Just so I can Mad Libs fill them out. It'd probably make more sense than what I can assume of it. But Scorch's team looking fairly solid. Good beef, good outright damage. Their grouping output is alright. Hui's pretty solid on that, and Jinx is, or yeah, I guess Jinx does have her rockets plus her super mega rocket. So, because Jinx is the hyper carry, I would put the favorability of the late game in Scorch's hand yet again. Early game is a coin flip, mid game also kind of a coin flip. I don't think that Banana Posse has the natural advantage at any state, but as always, can surprise. And it will be about 3.5 minutes for game 2 to begin. Sec. Alright, I will be right back. I set up a thing just in case I don't get back in time before the match actually begins. So that it won't matter if it won't matter about me being here, you'll just see the team abbreviations appear late. Alright, while... Or wait, actually, this is the screen I'm putting it on. Okay, so while that's going on, make your, get your thoughts together for this match that is to come, and it is a support rec site. Okay, I'm out. Alright, I'll be back.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Alright.
Minions have spawned.
I hope you guys have your thoughts in order for how this is going to be going. We got Press the Attack on Rek'Sai, Grasp on Shen. Saw a Shen versus a Heen matchup several days ago. We'll see if this one is any different. just some trading here and there thus far. Shen taking a net health loss, however, into a late level up against Zaheen. Olaf taking a fair amount of hurt himself, but, you know, the lower his health is, the more attack speed he gets, so not the worst thing for him. Doran's shield helps him stay a bit healthier than maybe he should. Wukong is tracked at this point. Ooh, that is a deadly knock-up. Yeah, first trip to lane this game for Shen. Not doing all that great. Hopefully does not die under tower. As Yarvin going for a gank, getting the knock-up secured, but cooldowns from Hui, preventing him from getting the kill. Not a great start for Banana Posse's game 2. Good knock-up from Rek'Sai, but Jinx did evade the E, allowing her to get out without taking too much from Swain's shotguns. You know, of all the mechanics that exist in the game, I'm kind of surprised that shotgunning isn't utilized all that much. I think it's only Swain and Graves for the most part. I don't think I'm missing anyone. In a sense, Jarvan coming over for an Olaf gank again. Out comes Ghost. And that's all Jarvan needed. I do find it interesting that Ares has been using champions that are very susceptible to having your autos avoided, but it working out anyways because they're pretty freaking strong champions. So Swain not having very much stacks right now. Unfortunate, because those early stacks do help out a lot when you're trading.
Bolster.
Shen teleport is ready, but he is fairly far from his quest being available. Ooh, bait. Out comes Jarvan. Knock up onto the Rek'Sai. Will be caught out and killed for Jinx as Jarvan ultimate comes out quickly afterwards, forcing the flash from Swain. As going to back up to take a peek at what happened up here.
Wukong going on to the Zaheen. Undetected. His ultimate is available. But he gets taunted, unable to use it, and will go down. As Jarvan's looking to secure this first dragon of game 2. Reminder for anyone that recently hopped in, game 1 was victorious for Scorch. Really good game though. Ooh, Wayne knockup coming out. Flash followed with Olaf. Super Mega Death Rocket comes in and Shen pops over just in time to let Olaf take damage from it. Jarvan doesn't have ultimate available, but he can stop Olaf's recall if he so wish. Dangerous to Olaf to walk out too much though, as Jarvan could kill him at certain points, depending on how heavy his burst is at the moment. I don't think it's quite enough to be able to kill Olaf at 300 health, but his mana was also low, so. And there was nothing to gain from being that close to the edge of the tower anyways. Ooh, that tower dive attempt going a bit not great for Banana Posse, taking out the Soraka, but nearly losing 2 for the Jinx. I think the Soraka's more than happy to die for that. Flash forced out of the Jinx. Downside of tower diving with so many melee champions makes it difficult to change targets at certain points of committance. Ooh, Rek'Sai being spotted for the recall. Zaheen spotted for the recall from Rek'Sai. Going under, gets the knockup. True damage popping out. Flash from Wukong and Shen both. Or no, just the Wukong. Not going to be enough to land the kill. It was the Zaheen's flash that came in. A lot of investment, but the plays aren't paying off at the moment. Unfortunate for Banana. As Swain is getting caught out by Jinx. Ultimate is ready now. Mega Death Rocket out. 100 health remaining. Alright. Jarvan considering going for a dive play, but deciding not to. Going to mid instead. Olaf very low, doesn't have flash available, so he will die. Always make sure to ban Jarvan when you have anyone that doesn't run Flash on your team. Otherwise, it's just free real estate. Jarvan swinging by bot, Swain in the bad spot. Jinx getting excited, and mid lane is open. Wukong caught out as well. Looks like first cast of ultimate, second will land on nothing other than stopping Jarvan's flag and drag. Wukong barely making it out alive. Shen trying to flash taunt. But the flash was too soon, so it didn't connect. Another taunt, doesn't land. Rek'Sai coming over, going to try for the knockup, connects, overcomes the Wukong. Lots of damage onto Zaheen, who will be forced into his passive, but Shen goes down. But Zaheen will follow. No flash available for Swain. This heal will go down as well. Kill number 4 for Jinx. Was getting very well fed at this point. I think her first item is fully stacked. Just confirm. Almost. Okay. And I'm sorry. I was really interested in seeing where the rocket landed. It almost stole blue buff. Not really. Yeah, Hui dying here from the combined effort of Olaf and Rek'Sai. Jinx doing a bit less damage than I would expect onto the Olaf. Maybe it's his NA armor? Only 87. Maybe it's because she has Zeal? Yeah, it's kind of just banking on the crit rate to pull through for her. As Jarvan is making his way topside with Soraka to confront this Zaheen opponent. Rek'Sai over in the bushes. Shen gets hit by the knockup. Taunt comes out. Zaheen passive apparently ready up in time? No. Something. What was that? Ah, it was the Soraka ult. Shen went down. Rek'Sai went down. As Olaf is trying to run down Jinx, goes for a tower dive, not going to succeed. As Swain will take out Zaheen with his W.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
And it's looking like Banana Posse's towers are going to be suffering from this. Hold up. What was this? It was a dive, wasn't it? Knockout from Jarvan. Out comes a W from Swain. Knockout from Wukong for the finisher. Rek'Sai trying to clear up this wave. Has Stride Breaker. As the mid lane inner tower down at 1640. And that gold value that Jinx has available to her is pretty big. That is definitely going to be enough to finish whatever item she's going for. Honestly, not really sure what to say about the current state of the game. Jinx is mega fed. And we are not that late into the match. I think it's a bit early for Runons though, frankly. I don't think we're going to see Banana Posse grouping up just yet. Might have probably wanted to save it for a third item instead. But Dragon Tempting coming. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. With Zaheen and Shen fighting, but Zaheen's passive is up, forcing Shen to try and escape. Dragon goes down for Scorch. That is their third dragon of the match.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
Rek'Sai trying to go for a kill onto Zaheen. Knockup comes out, but will die. And what was this? Wait, it went back that far? What? Okay, Olaf just got ulted without flash by Jarvan. Okay, that's all it was.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
Rift Herald kill time. 1.5 minutes just about for Baron to spawn. Wei going up against Wukong. Setting his ultimate onto Wukong, I believe, to know whether he decoys or not. And he kills the monkey pretty quickly there. As his allies up top after taking the Rift Herald seem to spot out the Thresh. Out comes the Super Mega Death Rocket from Jinx, hitting him in the face. Zap lands. Flag and Drag does not, but he will go down as he is pretty slow. Not sure what boots he has. Because, you know, it doesn't show the slot. But what I do know is that... Alright, Rek'Sai ultimate coming out, and the true damage knocking out Hui. But Hui's allies are taking out this last inner turret on the top side of the map. Shen taunt, but suppress right underneath his feet. Jinx just about to take out this tower. Push off. Not a good time for Banana Posse to try and take these fights. You have a massive level and gold deficit. You do not want to fight the majority of their team together without a pick beforehand. Swing coming over. Health is pretty low, dropping even more. Zaheen taking on the Shen. One-on-one will not permit him to escape. Goes for the tower dive. His passive is charged and ready. Tower goes down.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
That is all inner turrets destroyed at 20 minutes for Banana Posse, and first base tower dead.
Team's turret has been destroyed.
Rift Herald smited, or it can crash once more. Eris caught out. He will die. Soraka being the next to go. Jarvan should get out safely. Baron is up, but so is Jarvan. And I don't think there is enough damage to take Baron quickly without being detected, especially with a ward on it. Way looking for a pick on the jungler. Ooh, but he may be spotted out here by Rek'Sai. There come the steps. Were they spotted? They were not. Wukong nearly dead. And the Death Rocket catches him in the face as Jarvan comes over to secure the red buff for his team. Swain ultimate comes out. Olaf knocking way down mad low. Switching focus to Soraka. Rek'Sai ultimate going for Jarvan, who does escape. Zaheen fighting what he can. Passive is charged. Disengage is going to possibly be attempted here. Deciding to go for the kill to get rid of his passive. Jarvan looking for an entry angle. Finds it. Two pulled in by Zaheen. Out comes the damage. Jinx here to support. Rek'Sai getting out. But that is 4 members of Scorch pushing on your base once more. You may be able to expect 2 inhibitors going down. With nearly 30 seconds left for Olaf and Shen's death timers. And that should be the avenue made available to get a free Baron. And Dragon Soul coming up in 10 seconds. Alright, Banana chasing very deep. Soraka's low, but it is Soraka. But that doesn't matter when a Wukong knocks you up. Some chain CC occurring. Jinx taken out with Zaheen. Another. It's Rek'Sai, Olaf, and Shen are the only survivors. Well, from that scuffle, just the Rek'Sai, but you know. As Scorch sets their sights onto this Baron. Way going for more and more picks. The Willoughby picked himself. Nope. Gets away from the Stride Breaker. Shen was trying to neutralize that push coming in the mid. Rek'Sai getting low. Zaheen fighting the 3. Will go down. Death blow onto the Rek'Sai avoided thanks to her ultimate. As Baron will be secured by Jarvan as they make their escape. 9 kills on Jinx. Doesn't have a 4th item fully constructed yet, but you know, having IE and a Last Whisper together, kind of a lot at that point. Super minions pushing in top and mid. Fight going on here. Clone destroyed. Wukong soon after. Jinx excited. Gets caught up in a taunt. Will she be able to get out of this? Yes, she will. As Shen is forced out. Jinx still excited. Super Mega Death Rocket nearly taking out the target. Finished off just right after a triple kill. Running down looking for a Quadra as Swain flashes on, tries a shotgun, not going to be enough.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
Jinx low, but not for long as Soraka's topping her off. As Banana Posse's base is dead and possibility of a pentakill just about to happen. Decides to go for the base instead, but Olaf runs up. There's the knockup. And penta denied by Zaheen. As Jarvan executes to the fountain. Game 2 for the 2-0 victory going to Scorch. Alright, that will be the end of the series. Game 1 was, you know,
quite different from this game too. The composition was very questionable. I think they were just trying to have fun with it. But yeah. Honestly not sure what to say on the game 2. Game 1, they did go for some cheese plays, got themselves good early. Got a bit iffy in the mid, but they kind of pulled themselves together for an attempt at victory near the end. This game 2, though, I can't really say too much about it. It was a bit of a steamroll with that 13-0 jinx. Rek'Sai actually getting a lot of kills. I am very surprised at that. Probably would have been better off in the hands of someone else. Not saying that Flame Dog was performing poorly on her, just that, you know, with the XP that you're not going to get as a support, and being a champion that is relatively solidly demanding as it is, I kind of would have expected a support Rek'Sai for a support route instead of in a tanky route rather than an assassin build. Well, I guess it's just opportunist, but then getting a serrated Dirk after that, I don't know. I don't play Rek'Sai. I like Rek'Sai as a champion, but really bad at her. So I don't know. I shouldn't be speaking on that. But that Shen Zaheen lane is very hard. Olaf. Olaf's just a struggle into Jarvan. Not having mobility accessible whenever your flash is down is basically just a free kill for your opponents. We saw that in mid, we saw that in bot, and it just kind of snowballed every instance that was able to be caught out from Rusty Crow in those opportunities. But with that, that'll be the end of this match. Thank you all for stopping by. That was, and yeah, we'll be ending the stream here. Kudos to Scorch, 2 very solid games, and Posse. Your game 1 was very confusing, but there were some opportunities that were made. The Nasus became very problematic towards that end, however. The Nasus became very problematic in that game 1. Made it very difficult for any pressure to be countered, especially since it was a Nautilus mid and a Mordekaiser. Can't really fend off a Nasus's inevitable push with that. Like the rest of the engagements were fairly solid, but Mel also seemed to fall off. I'm not sure if it's because of the changes specifically, and Seraphine was picking some good moments to ult to make sure that Mel would not have the opportunity to deflect her ult back at her allies. And game 2 was just very hard. I don't think that there were any moments where Banana Posse had an entry into most parts of the match. Scorch was very much commanding in it, as I've said. And yeah, game 1 was the chaos that it seemed to be promised from the outlook before the match occurred. But yeah, with that, good luck to both teams as your future matches come in. And to the rest of you, have a great remainder of your night. Goodbye.